Allison Williams here, Law Firm Mentor. I want to welcome you all to the group. You're in the Law Firm Mentor Movement Facebook group. And today I have my special guest with me, Andrew Stickle, who's going to talk to us about social media marketing. So I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time giving him an intro. I think most of you probably know who he is. And if you don't, you're kind of living under a rock at this point. Because Andy has quite a reputation online for social media marketing and marketing in general for lawyers. And what's unique about him, one of the reasons why I wanted to have him in today, is the fact that he actually comes up with innovative ways for marketing for lawyers so that small law firm owners that are out there and kind of getting their name out for the first time and really investing in marketing can make a huge impact in a relatively short period of time and not with a lot of resources. So, with that being said, Andy's going to talk to us and give us a lot of feedback about what to do with social media, how we can move the needle. He has a lot of resources that are available to you. His company is Social Firestarter. It's founded in 2012 and it's been around since then. But of course, I'm going to let you know about his closed Facebook group. It is Marketing for Lawyers, and he also has a item that you can opt in for to get tips on how to get clients as a law firm owner. It's getlawfirmclients.com. There you can opt in to get a tip sheet from him on that. So without further ado, I'm going to just ask Annie to talk to us a little bit about marketing for lawyers and how we can move the needle with social media. Thank you, Andy, for being here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for that great intro. I think that you pretty much nailed it. I try to come up with innovative marketing strategies for lawyers that most people haven't heard before. Kind of where I got started. I started in marketing back in 2006, I think, when I ran a full-fledged agency, and then I got into marketing attorneys when I started my current company, Social Firestarter. And I currently have about 50 law firms that I do their marketing for. But like most lawyers can relate to this. What I started seeing is that there's so many people when you have a website and when you have a law firm, you just get inundated with marketing materials from every marketing agency out there. Every company, big or small, wants to handle your Facebook and handle your social media and handle your SEO and build you a new website and get you on the first page of Google and sell you leads and sell you the phone number 1-800-BAttorneys.com and everything else in between, So what I started realizing is that there was not a lot of really great resources out there that small law firms can use to get themselves more clients. And marketing is not simple, it's not difficult. It's just, taking a lot of simple steps. And there's a lot of things that lawyers just don't do or they don't think about. So that's kind of where I got started. Is I started trying to create this content more out of frustration that there was nothing out there. Because I only work with 50 clients. I'm not really taking any more clients at this point, just because I can't handle 100 clients, and I don't want to stretch myself. And I like having a reputation that I get good results for my clients. So basically, I couldn't really help more than 50, and I had a lot of people contacting me. So I started putting all this content out there. But I think that I think moving forward, I think social media is really what lawyers should be using, and it's something that lawyers don't really understand how to use. To how to get clients for their law firms. That's kind of what I'd like to talk about today. And I think it'll be pretty informative for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting that you say that. I think as lawyers, we are probably one of the laggards of all professions when it comes to changing things up and doing things that are new and innovative, because we're such a conservative lot as it is. But, with social media, I think one of the big misconceptions people have is all you have to do is create a business page and stick it out there and you're, quote, marketing. Can you talk to us a little bit about how someone could use their Facebook business page and what they should be doing, some tips on maximizing their reach?
Sure, absolutely. So what the mistake that a lot of lawyers make, and I say that I always kind of use the going for home runs. I use a baseball reference. So if you think about, there's a guy named Pete Rose. He's a really famous baseball player. He is number 6 all time in runs scored, and he's number 1 all time in singles. But he only hit 160 home runs in his career. So I like to make that reference because he knew that all he had to do was get on base, and he would basically score runs. So I use that same type of mentality with law firm marketing, because nowadays people are going for home runs. What happens is a lawyer will put out a Facebook ad and it'll say, have you been in a car accident? Call me today for a free consultation. Or have you been arrested? Call me today, and I can help you fight your DUI. But the reality is that when you run a Facebook ad, what you're kind of going for a home run just right out of the gate. And that's not how the internet works anymore. Now, there used to be something called 3-point marketing where somebody needed to have 3 contacts with a brand before they trusted them enough to make a purchase. Now it's something like 20 plus touches with a brand before they actually trust them enough, before they'll actually make a purchase or give them the money or trust them to do anything. So what a lot of lawyers are doing is they're trying to hit a home run when they really should just be going for a single. So instead of trying to get somebody to see your ad, understand that they need an estate plan, and then understand that you're the right attorney for them, and then subsequently hire you with one ad, what you need to do is you need to basically just introduce them to the concept of an estate plan and then follow up with them over and over and over again. And that's kind of where it's really simple to do, but it's just a concept that a lot of lawyers, they're not doing it. They're trying to hit the home run right away. And then what happens is it doesn't work. And then they get frustrated and then they say Facebook doesn't work or social media doesn't work. And it's not, it's like social media is a tool. It's how you use it, Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things is that you have to have a little bit of patience. And it's a little bit of work, that's the thing. And what's tough is, have you ever read The E-Myth? Have you ever read that book?
Yeah, absolutely. Good old
Yeah. So it kind of goes down to that, working on your business versus working at your business, and being an attorney, especially when you run a law firm, first of all, you've got to be a great attorney, but then you've also got to be savvy with business and savvy with HR and savvy with, marketing and all these different things. And sometimes you can't have it all, So some of these law firms that I talk to, some of these lawyers that I talk to, it's kind of like, do you want to be an attorney or do you want to be a marketer? Or do you want to be a business owner, I should say, because some attorneys that I talk to, they just want to be an attorney. They don't want to do marketing, and you've got to figure out how to make that work because, where Google's going, everything, social media is the way to go. And it takes a little bit of this type of, repetitive contact over and over again. It's difficult to just hit a home run right away every time.
Yeah. So if your recommendation is that people have to have more touch points in order to really make an impact in sales, how is somebody who's not investing $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month really able to do that, to get all those touch points out there? Because if you're kind of, in grassroots, maybe you have a couple $100,000 a year up to $1 million a year in revenue, you have enough to be able to post some pay-per-click ads. Maybe you have your Facebook page, maybe you have a marketing company working with it, but you're probably not getting 20 or 30 touch points out there in a month. So how do you drive the needle up if that's what you're working with?
Got it. So what you need to do is there's 3 types of traffic that you can get online. There's organic traffic. There's traffic that you don't control. And that's an example of that is organic traffic or referral traffic or social shares. So for example, you can't control, like you can optimize your website, but you can't control if Google is actually going to put you number 1 and send you traffic with organic traffic. Same thing with referral traffic. You can ask somebody to give you a link, but you can't control the fact that they actually put that link on your website and then someone visits that website and then clicks on that link and visits your website. So that's traffic you don't control. And then there's also traffic you control, and that's traffic like pay-per-click ads, Facebook ads, different things like that. And that's traffic that you can turn on and off. So Google AdWords, for example, you can turn on Google AdWords and start funneling traffic to your website. So the goal is, with everything you're doing, and the key to making this work without a huge budget is converting the traffic that you don't control and the traffic you control into traffic that you own. And traffic that you own is in the form of email addresses, like physical addresses, and telephone numbers. So you can send text messages or even get old school and make a phone call if you actually wanted to do that. So the way you do that is, instead of running an ad saying, have you been in a construction accident? Call me today for a free consultation. You create some sort of free guide that will entice a construction worker to want to download, like an ebook or a cheat sheet. I actually like calling things cheat sheets nowadays. I think it's the same thing as an ebook. It's basically a free piece of content, but I think a lot of people are kind of associating the word ebook with like work, So I know that I personally have a lot of ebooks sitting in my downloads folder that I've never actually read. But what you do is instead of going for that home run, you go for the single. So you create a document, like if you're targeting construction accidents, you'd be targeting construction workers. You create a document that's like 4 things all construction workers need to know about job site injuries, whether you've been injured or not, right? So then they go to a landing page, they enter their email address, and now now they're on your email list, and you can send them an email every single day, and they see your content. And the key to following up with that email is that, and this is where a lot of people make mistakes, is you want the emails to be extremely high value. So like, are you on my email list by any chance? I have a lot of people on my email list.
I am on your email list.
Okay. So what you'll notice in my emails is that, one, I send an email every single day, but the content of my email is extremely high value. It's not, I don't sell anything. I don't pitch anything. It's basically, here is how to do this marketing thing for your law firm, or here's a sneaky way to get more law clients using Facebook or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So what happens is I send an email every single day. Every single email that I send is extremely valuable. It's all high value content. None of it sells anything, right? But what I'm actually doing is I'm putting myself in front of your face every single day, and I'm giving you value every single day. So every single time you see my email and you watch one of my videos, that's another touch point. So a lot of people will contact me. What I find is that when people want to hire me to do their marketing, they don't contact me after the first email. They contact me, and I can see, because they respond to my email and they say, hey, Andy, can you help me with my marketing? I'll look, and it's like email 35 in my email sequence, or like email 42, So it takes a lot of touch points before somebody actually trusts you enough to actually want to hire you, and that's kind of what's happening. So if you can just provide value and just provide pure value, and everything you do is provide value, and each person that you have on your email list is just another hook in the water. It's just another line in the water, another chance to capture somebody that either needs your help themselves or has a friend or a family member that needs to help you. But they're seeing you as the authority because you're providing value over and over and over again. So if you do that, and then you tie it together with a Facebook group, where you provide content on a daily basis and different things like that, then you hit those 20 or 30 touch points really quickly. I can hit 20 or 30 touch points. You're in my Facebook group, you see my emails. A lot of people see me in a lot of different places. So I can hit 20, 30 touch points in a week, maybe, but everything I do is high value. I don't do any hard pitches, hard sells, or anything like that. And that's the thing that really sets it apart. And that's why a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to email people every single day, because I don't want to spam them. But what I've found is that you're only perceived as spam if you're trying to sell something over and over again. If you're just providing value, people are not going to be upset by that. They're actually going to miss your emails when they don't come. And I've heard people say that.
I know. How dare you go on vacation?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. On vacation, it'll work. I had an issue with my email responder where for about 10 days, I didn't send any emails, and people were emailing me asking if they were removed from the list or whatever, because they were so accustomed to getting the emails. So, it's really interesting. The other interesting thing is that it changes the viewer's perception of you. So, for example, most lawyers don't trust marketers. They don't like marketers. They're very hesitant to talk to marketers. For me, what's interesting is because I've made myself the authority on law firm marketing in their eyes. I'm not saying in the world, but in their eyes, because they see me over and over and over again, and I provided so much value. What happens is people contact me, and my agency is actually on a waiting list right now. We're not even taking new clients at the moment. If we do, it's for very specific things. But what happens is people are actually trying to sell me on why I should do their marketing. And it's really interesting because I've had clients that have had that same happen to them also, where people are convincing them, here's why you need to work with, here's why you need to take my case, because you're the authority. It's like, you're the only option. You're the best option out there because you're the one that they trust, So it's a really cool system, and it's all using social media. It's all based on that first touch point where you run a Facebook ad that gets them to a cheat sheet and then gets them in your email list, and then use social to follow up that way.
So, Andy, that's like a perfect point because this is something that I talk about a lot in the law firm mentor movement and on the page. The idea of becoming the expert and being
Hmm.
the authority. I mean, once you are the authority, people are lining up to get you. And if you
Yep.
craft your message in the right way, you can get them to the point where they're trying to sell you on working with them and not vice versa. And that, of course, is where
Exactly.
you really get to choose that ideal client for you. So one of the
Yeah.
things that I want to ask you about though is this idea about multiple platforms. Because one thing I hear a lot out there in the blogosphere about social media marketing is that you need to pick a platform. You don't need to be everywhere because a lot of times people when they're starting this, they create their Facebook page, they get an IG account, they get on Twitter, they start posting videos on YouTube, and then they get exhausted. And so instead of being consistently in one place, they're inconsistently everywhere posting little dribs and drabs of information and hoping that somebody sees it and will court them into a relationship. Can you talk a little bit about what you recommend in terms of how many platforms, how frequently? You already talked about email frequently. Obviously, it should be daily, but
Hmm.
beyond that, what should you do actually on the platforms?
Okay, so I have a confession. I'm 34 years old. I think does that make me a millennial? I've never really known if I'm a millennial or
I
not. I
think you
think I'm like
just
right.
passed the cutoff.
Yeah, I think I'm like a year too old to be a millennial, but I'm too young to be what is it? What's the one before me? Gen Z is it? Oh, whatever. I don't
Gen
know.
X,
I don't
Gen
know.
X, I
Gen
think
X,
is the
Gen Z,
yeah. Gen X
whatever
is
it is.
fine.
I I don't understand Twitter. I mean, I understand it, but I get overwhelmed when I go to Twitter. So I do very, very, very little on Twitter. Instagram, I'm trying my hardest to do Instagram, and it just isn't working very well. So, like trying to be consistent doing Instagram stories and things like that, it doesn't. I don't know. I just can't get it. So my main focus, first of all, before I even consider a platform, I create content, right? So my daily routine is every day I create a piece of content, and it's usually in the form of video. The reason I like video is because one, it puts my face and my voice in front of them, and that's very important because if you're just writing a blog post, then you're not actually becoming the authority unless you have pictures of yourself all over the blog post. But when someone watches a video of me, they're watching a video of me talking. If you look at my Facebook channel, my Facebook group, my YouTube channel, everywhere has my picture all over it. And that's because I want people to see me. I don't want it to just be the lawyer marketing group. I want them to see me and make me the authority. So that's my most important thing, is that I create a piece of content. And then what I do is I have a team that syndicates that content everywhere. So I actually do have content on I'm on Facebook. I've got a Facebook group. I've got a Facebook page. I've got an Instagram account. I've got YouTube. I've got email. And trying to think if there's anywhere else. Right now, I'm going to add Twitter in here eventually. I just haven't done it yet. But what I do is I create a piece of content, and I have a team that then syndicates it everywhere. So I only spend maybe 5 minutes a day creating content, and then I send the URL. I upload it to Facebook. I do a post, and then I upload it to YouTube, and then I send the URL from YouTube to my team, and they take care of everything else. They put it on Facebook. They syndicate it everywhere. They write a blog post. They do video transcripts. They optimize the video on YouTube. They do, all that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily about where you distribute. It's about where you personally distribute. It's about basically creating a great piece of content on a regular basis, and then letting your team syndicate it everywhere. So I think that you need to focus on one platform that you're comfortable with. So I'm comfortable with Facebook and YouTube. But if there's two that to really focus on right now, I'd say those two. Instagram is going to be the next one, and that's why I'm forcing myself to figure out how to actually make it work. Because I'm not consistent with it. That's kind of the problem. But what's important is that you really own one platform that you're responsible for, and then the rest of your team. Put together a team that can syndicate everything else and take care of it everywhere. Because there are some people that don't use Facebook. There's people that go on YouTube. I mean, I get found from all over the place. So another thing is podcast. I actually put a post up today about an hour ago that I was asking, hey, I'm thinking about doing a podcast, and I'm trying to figure that out also. But I just know that the more it's like everything else, the more opportunities somebody has to come in contact with you, and then the more touch points, the more you're going to become the authority.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely. Andy, one
yeah,
thing I do think that you said that's critical is the idea that, you don't personally know every platform.
yeah,
You feel comfortable with one or two, and then you have a team that kind of supplements the rest. But a
yeah,
lot of the platforms will allow for cross posting, and that's one way that you can actually expand your reach. So
yeah.
when I set up my firm Facebook page, we actually automatically have it linked to our Twitter account. So as soon as I post something on Facebook, it automatically posts in abbreviated form on Twitter. So I already get two touch points from the first post. Then Instagram, Facebook and Instagram are co-owned by the same company. So a lot of your image work you can put out there in a graphic form. You can also have it cross posted to Instagram. So you can get three touch points from the same content. Well, the great thing about that is if you work with a marketing company that's anywhere near as capable as yours is, they can take that one piece of content that's been created and multiply it. So they can take a video and transcribe it. If you go with a company like Rev.com, you immediately get a quick transcript. You can turn it around and post out the words on a platform that only allows for words. And if you want a graphic, you can do a still shot of your video and post the graphic on Instagram. So you can immediately take something that you've created and multiply it. And I just think that's so critically important for people that aren't necessarily at the place where they're going to invest a lot in their budget. They can take a small amount and do something on their own and then really have a much broader reach.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I focus on one piece of content and then I syndicate that content everywhere. Now, I think it's important that what I do, and you can do this, but I actually make sure that we have specific versions of every content for every different platform. So, for example, Facebook, you can syndicate Facebook and Instagram, but because Instagram is much more visual and it's got different, you're not allowed to have links in the comments and different things like that. What we do is we have specific content that is actually created from that video for an Instagram post. And that's a luxury that I have because I just have a team that'll do that for me. But the thing is, a team also is not that expensive. Most of the people that work for me are from overseas. And I know that a lot of people have had bad experiences, or maybe they haven't, but they've heard of people that have bad experiences. Most of my workers most of the VAs that work for me, virtual assistants, are from the Philippines. And honestly, they do an amazing job. I've had like everywhere else, I've had some bad ones, but you can kind of weed through the bad ones, and they do an amazing job, and they syndicate everything for you. And that's a lifesaver for me because I spend 5 minutes creating content and then I'm done, and then they put it everywhere else. And what you were saying with Rev, that's actually the exact way that I do my blog posts. So what I do is I'll send the video to rev.com. Then they transcribe the entire thing. Then I send the transcription to a writer, and I basically just say, hey, clean this up and add headers and all that kind of stuff. And then we turn that into the blog post. We embed the video at the top of the page. And now I've got a blog post and a video that's searchable by Google. So it's all about repurposing what you have rather than trying to create a specific blog post and a specific Instagram post and a specific YouTube. It's one piece of content. Just put it everywhere and be smart about it.
Definitely. So for people that that are working with virtual assistants, there's always that fear, especially lawyers. We're control freaks. We control everything. So outsourcing anything becomes difficult. I have to beat people over the head to get them to outsource their secretarial work.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get into the habit, you get the mindset that, okay, I'm going to outsource this. I'm going to bring somebody aboard who's going to do my social media, and they're going to be putting things out there. You said earlier that you really advise people put things out of value. So how can a lawyer, lawyers have their own concerns about making sure that they're not giving legal advice or being interpreted as giving legal advice when they're putting content out there. How do you work with lawyers on making sure that they are putting out content that's usable and valuable, but not necessarily the solution? It's something that'll lead them to come into the office to get the actual solution as opposed to giving it away up front.
Yeah. So, I always tell people concentrate on the why, not necessarily the how. So, for example, if you're a family law attorney, for example, and you're talking about different, let's say a child custody issue or something like that, maybe you talk about, why it's important to have certain things done, but you're not going to actually talk about how to go to the court and file this petition and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's basically you talk about, and a lot of times what you can do is you can tell stories that relate that basically prove a point or kind of illustrate a point, and that'll be value for people. Because what most people don't realize is that the information that you've got in your head about whatever your practice area is, like, you're an expert at whatever area of the law you focus on, right? So if you're a family law attorney, it's pretty safe to say you're an expert in family law. Like, I mean, maybe not legally an expert, maybe the bar wouldn't, but compared to most people.
Yeah, we don't call ourselves that in
yeah.
places where the bar can find out. We just use
Exactly.
it amongst ourselves.
Exactly. Okay, you know the law very, very well, right? And you know the procedures, you know how things work. You know it kind of really well. The average person that's going through a divorce knows, I mean, 1/1000th% of what you know, right? So any information that you have, even if you don't think it's significant, that's amazing information for somebody that needs that information. So if and the example that I can always use is law firm marketing. Most lawyers that come to me, like, I'll tell them, like, I gave someone advice the other day about it's an immigration attorney, and they were asking me, how do you target immigration clients? I was like, well, you just go into Facebook, and so if you're trying to target people that are from India, for example, then all you do is you search for celebrities that are celebrities in India that only people from India are going to like, and you just target people that like those celebrities. And it makes sense that, it's like, so that's how you target people. So for me, that's something that is just easy for me. But the lawyer I was talking to was like, oh my God, that is the smartest thing. That's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, another thing is, if you're a personal injury attorney, what you can do is location-based targeting. So basically, you can put the address of a hospital in, right? And you can say, anyone that's been at this address within the last 7 days, run these personal injury ads to. So it's like, I know that stuff, but some people that hear that for the first time, they're amazed. Like, oh my God, that is so smart. I didn't even know you could do that. So you can give those same types of moments to people that are interested in whatever it is that you're talking about. So what works really well is stories. And because people relate to stories. So, for example, if you get online and you say, listen, I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me today. And the thing is that the stories don't have to be true. They can, obviously you're not going to give out your client's information, or, nothing that's going to get you in trouble. But you could say something like, so I just left the courthouse, and we are dealing with a situation where a mother and a father are fighting over custody of their children. And the mother went on Facebook and did a whole rant about the father, about all this type of stuff. And he did this, and he did this, and he did this. So what do you think happened? The father, who's not my client, comes in with screenshots and shows them to the judge. And then the judge said, and I don't know if this is a true story or not. I'm pretty sure that you're not supposed to be talking on social media if you're in a court case. So you can say this. So the judge they showed the screenshots to the judge. And what do you think happened? The judge ruled in their favor because the wife made a bad decision or whatever. So if you give stories like that, people find value in that. I mean, and it doesn't have to be specifically that, but you can just talk about all kinds of different scenarios. Another one is, like, if you're targeting fathers. There's a misconception amongst family law that the father is always at a disadvantage when it comes to family law. And as far as I know, every jurisdiction that I've heard, every attorney that I've talked to, that's not the case. I don't know of any, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know of any areas in this country where the father is at a significant disadvantage because they're a father, but there's a lot of people that have that false belief. So, most attorneys, when someone comes in for a divorce consultation or a personal injury consultation or whatever it is, they can probably pinpoint the 10 or 15 questions that someone's going to ask. So if you make a list of those questions and you answer those questions, that's value right there. If you write down every story that you can think of that can support those questions and support those answers, that's content right there. It's just stuff like that. Like, what's amazing is that people just don't realize how much value and how much information they have in their head that people will think will be amazed by, like stuff that people, I mean, you went to law school for how many years, and you've done this, you've got all this on the job training, you've worked with client after client after client, so just take that information and just share it. That's the easiest way to do it, is just think about what people are asking you and answer those questions.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that, because social media has really helped a lot with that. I remember when I first started my child abuse practice, I actually would go all over the state And at some point in time, I was out in court so often that when people would call the office and say, "Hey, I need to just ask her a question about child abuse,"
Yeah.
my secretary would say, "All right, I can schedule you 3 weeks from Friday," and
Hmm.
they would say, "Well, I need an answer like now." So I just started
Yeah.
putting stuff onto a blog, and
Hmm.
back then this was the homemade WordPress blog, just a place
Yeah.
to dump stuff. And I
Hmm.
remember people started finding me with the blog. So I said, well, all right, maybe I can use it for marketing. And this is like, I call myself an unconscious competent because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing something just
You
to place
accidentally
myself
stumbled into
ahead.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would leave court and I would just brain dump, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I left and this client, the judge was so unfair. And, you could always twist things around, you always know how to hide the identifiers, but
Yeah.
people really got riled up about it. And, you can really, especially with family law, that's my primary
Yeah.
practice area, you can really
Yeah.
get people offended by what families go through on any side, whether you're
Yeah.
representing moms, dads, relatives trying to intervene against parents, if it's custody,
Hmm.
support, domestic violence, divorce. You can always just throw something out there and you can start to create a tribe. You can get
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
enmeshed in your perspective. And that's one of the reasons why when we talk about marketing, we really are careful to make sure you're telling your story to whomever it is that identifies
Hmm.
with your story so that you draw in those people and you don't get everybody a tepid story. You give one person a
Yeah.
really hot story.
Exactly. And the other thing that a lot of attorneys worry about, and I was guilty of this as well, is they worry about making things perfect. And what you'll find is that people don't care. The information is what's important. So, like, a lot of times I'll talk to attorneys like, well, I want to get a good camera. I want to, audio. I think you definitely need good audio, but you can get cheap audio. But people worry about having the perfect video and the perfect lighting and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, just do it. Just get on camera and do it. And like even me, I still for a while. Because okay, so I work. I get up at 4:30 in the morning every morning, and I work from 4:30 until whenever. But at 4:30 in the morning, I don't get up and get dressed and put on a nice shirt and all that kind of stuff. I get up and I'm wearing a t-shirt, because I work from home. So for the longest time, I would get up. It would be like 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still working, and I hadn't really put on a nice shirt or anything. I honestly, this is probably more than I normally wear. I normally just wear a t-shirt.
We got a
But for a
special
long
occasion
time,
outfit.
yeah, I got dressed up. I figured I'd look nice for this interview, but I was worried. I was like, you know what? I need to put a nice shirt on. I need to put a button down or a polo shirt or something on. And then I just stopped doing it one day, and I forgot to do it. And I realized the last 10 videos, I was just wearing a t-shirt and just talking. And I realized that nobody cared, So it's like
Yeah.
what they're interested in is, the content and the value, all that kind of stuff. And the reality is that people don't like perfect people. What do they call perfect people? They call them goody two shoes and all that kind of stuff. They like people that are real because nobody's perfect. So if you have character flaws, if you have all that kind of stuff, it's great. I mean, that just makes you more of a real person. It makes you more relatable. And that's what people like, nobody's perfect. Nobody can be perfect. So they're not going to follow someone that perceives to be perfect, So that's just something else. A lot of us just do it. And, the other thing is what I've been finding is a lot of times people say, I don't have time to create content. I'm not sure if you've seen a couple of the videos I've created recently, but I bought a cell phone holder for my car that clips onto the air vent. And I just record videos while I'm driving now. And basically I just drive and I just talk, And it's like you were saying, a
Not
brain
try
dump.
this at home, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so here's how I do it. I'm very
Lawyer in me advises against that.
All right, here's how I do it. I stop the video. I start the video when I'm in the parking lot. I press record and then I back up and then I just talk. And then I wait until I'm stopped and then I hit stop.
There you go.
No, I don't. I've got 3 kids. I don't need to be getting killed driving. But it's a good way to do it because a lot of people are just listening to the radio or whatever. And use that time. I mean, I know personally when I'm driving, I come up with all kinds of ideas when I'm driving. And I think a lot of people are like that also just because it's kind of, you're just sitting there and you're kind of zoning out. So, use that time to create content and do marketing, anytime you can figure out, especially if you're leaving the courthouse and like you were saying, you do a brain dump, I mean, that's the perfect time to do it.
Definitely. So, we are a little over time, but I just want to, give people an opportunity. We have some people that have been posting thumbs up and kudos and saying that they appreciate the content. We are here today with Andy Stickle. Andy is the founder and owner of the Social Firestarter. He indicated earlier he's not taking clients, but I am sure that there are ways that he can help work with our lawyers on getting them more value out of their social media. So I'm going to ask Andy to talk about that. One thing I do want to make sure everybody heard, if they hadn't seen the video from the beginning and they just joined us, that Andy does have a giveaway for you at getlawfirmclients.com. You can opt in and actually see Andy's cheat sheet on marketing tips for lawyers and how to optimize your law firm marketing. Again, that's getlawfirmclients.com. And of course, he does have a closed Facebook group. As you know, you're here in the Law Firm Mentor Movement. We give you content, but Andy gives you content specific to the issue of marketing, which is something a lot of lawyers want help with. It's marketing for lawyers. So if you just go into Facebook groups, do a search, you can get into marketing for lawyers. Get a lot of content there. That's actually how I found Andy. I was looking for marketing. I thought his content was fresh. His YouTube page is just chock full of videos with very, very easy, relatable content that you can use right away. So, Andy, why don't you tell us, as we're winding down here, how you can help lawyers if your company is doing anything right now. If you're at capacity, maybe somebody on your team can help, or if not, maybe you can give some guidance to our listeners as to what they can do to improve their marketing.
Sure. So the first thing to do is join my closed Facebook group, because everything that I create goes into that group first. And actually, the easiest way to join it, if you just go to Facebook and search lawyer marketing, and you'll see it right there. And it's just called lawyer marketing. It's really simple. So join that group, send a request. I'll let you in the group. And then if you go to getlawfirmclients.com, you can download my free cheat sheet. The cheat sheet is called it's called 3 Secrets to Getting More Law Clients Using Social Media. So basically what that is that's actually kind of an overview, a step-by-step guide that tells the strategy that I use for my clients on how to get more clients using social media. And it's kind of a foolproof strategy that works really well. It'll also get you on my email list. So you'll get daily updates from me, and I try to practice what I preach. I try to provide nothing but pure value in all of my content, and I think I do a good job with that. Hopefully, I do. So
I absolutely agree.
So, and from my law firm, my marketing agency, we are at capacity right now. We have a waiting list if you're interested in that. But I'm actually about to do a beta coaching course where I'm actually going to work with 10 lawyers for 6 weeks. And I'm going to create a course that actually walks them through step by step and basically does kind of the hand holding of how to get law clients using social media. It's basically a step-by-step walkthrough course. I've only got like 1 or 2 spots available that are left in that. So if you're interested, send me a message and I can get you in that course as well. But yeah, other than that, I mean, just check out my Facebook group. That's the best place to find me.
Yeah,
so,
and where would people, if they're interested in your beta course, where would they be able to reach out to you so that they can grab one of those last 2 slots?
Well, you can send me an email, andy@socialfirestarter.com, or just join my Facebook group and you'll see me all over there. Just join and send me a message. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
All right, great. Well, I thought the giveaway for today was actually going to be at the getlawfirmclients.com, but I'm hearing
it
about
is.
beta. Well, it is, but it's also the fact that you have this beta testing that you're doing, coaching lawyers on social media marketing for. So for anybody that's interested in working with Andy, unfortunately, as he said, his company is at capacity. I think that's a great problem to have. And he's such a creative guy that he's out there doing other things so that he can expand his reach, help more lawyers with their marketing. So we thank him for giving us his time today. We got a lot of great topics, a lot of great content on what to do today to be able to improve your social media marketing. So everyone, thank you for coming to the group. Thank you, Andy, for coming to give us your time and value. And again, for anyone that's interested, it's Marketing for Lawyers is Andy's Facebook group. Please join his group. Opt in at getlawfirmclients.com. And Social Firestarter is his website. He's filled right now with clients, but maybe you get on that wait list and get some value pretty soon. All right, everyone, thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks.